June is Pride Month on The Experience, and we're celebrating our friends in the LGBTQ plus community. Join us June 5th and 6th as we kick off our Pride Month celebration with Experience Pride, a 2-day event featuring creators from the community as well as allies and friends. And then stay tuned all month as we continue our celebration of Pride. Only on The Experience, Comics, Culture, and Sales.
There's something for every imagination at your local comic shop. Visit ComicShopLocator.com to find a store near you.
Hello, this is Imani, creator of Peep Game Comics. You're watching the Black Comics Universe presented by Peep Game Comics on The Experience. Please help us out by hitting share and giving us a like and a follow. And of course, follow all the programming that's going on 7 days a week by my producer friend Kyle, who's in the background, probably eating Cheetos. We're waiting for our next guest. We're waiting for our next guest, Dorphise, who should be coming here shortly, I believe. Yep, she's on her way. So we are on. We should be joining us soon. In the meantime, if you have any questions that you would like to ask Dorphise or any of our other creators coming up, we have John Jennings and David Brame of After the Rain, a book that I picked up not too long ago. We also have my friend David Crownson, the creator of Harriet Tubman Demon Slayer. That's an extremely popular book right now. That's going crazy on our website, Peep Game Comics. And a little bit about Peep Game. Peep Game Comics is a online comic book shop that features and showcases comic books by African-American comic book creators. We've been going at it for about 8 years now. And we featured the work of like some of the names that we brought up today, like Dawood Anyabuele's Brother Man, David Crownson's Harriet Tubman Demon Slayer, Greg Alisi's Instana, which is a very popular title. And there's a ton of other independent creators out there. We've carried Godhood Comics, Mega Woman that we talked about at the top of a program yesterday. So we have not only can you find books by independent comic book creators, our website definitely will lead you to a large community of other Black comic book creators that are doing amazing work out here and that are part of today's current Black age of comics. The thing that is definitely the engine that is moving a lot of popular Black culture right now. And I was told to share my cool Peep Game comic t-shirt, if you can see that. And you can actually get that on the website as well. We have, t-shirts and apparel. We actually are carrying Harriet Tubman Demon Slayer #1 in our premiere edition. The edition style is signed, backed, sealed, and placed in a PVC case. So it's a collector's edition. I'm definitely about, jumping into this collector's market. I want to be able to present these independent creators in a format that's definitely going to, gain value in the near future. So please check us out at peepgamecomics.com. That's comics with an X. And you get all the details about today's program as well on peepgamecomics.com. And make sure to follow The Experience on all social network platforms. That's _EXP on Twitch, Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook. Facebook and on Twitter through Periscope on Twitter. And they're on all the places. It's like basically The Experience is basically a online television station. This going on 7 days a week. It kind of cuts off like old school TV at the end of the night. But it definitely is available to stream on all your platforms as well. So any minute now, we should have our friend Dorphise coming through. And we should be back in a few minutes. Hello, this is Imani, creator of Peep Game Comics, and you're watching the Black Comics Universe, part of The Experience. You can follow us on all digital streaming platforms, YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter, and Twitch, _EXP. And our next guest is Dorphise Jean.
How you guys doing?
Hey, what's up?
What's up?
Spirit's Destiny. That's available on Peep Game Comics and on our website. You have a website, right?
Actually, I do have a website I'm still working on. It's gonna be Melanin. She writes.
Okay.
And I gotta give you another book to put on the website. So
all right. See, it was so interesting is that when you consider all the other creators that we have on this program, you're like the rookie right now.
Yeah.
You're the rookie. And you've been in it the shortest amount of time, but at the same time, it feels like you've been in it for a while. At the same time, you feel like you've been here forever.
Mm-hmm.
In a very short period of time, you put in a lot of work. How have you been able to put in so much work in a very short period of time?
I actually I've reached out to most of these people that actually you have interviewed, and I got advice from them. They just told me keep grinding and you got to stay relevant. You got to be consistent. One of my issues, and I'm taking accountability for that. I did not stay consistent with Spirit's Destiny. Spirit's Destiny probably been an issue 6, and I'll probably have built a bigger platform. But I went through having a publisher and going through depression. Then no, I'm Haitian. I need to come back. And I wrote the 3rd script, and I got me a new editor, Greg. Greg really pushed me. And once he said it was okay, and then my writing got better, I was good. I was in a much more levitated state. And then I got opportunities to write a Noir, my first Noir 6-pager, and other people gave me opportunities. So it actually gave me that confidence boost. But yeah, I am a rookie. Some people say I'm not a rookie, but I still consider myself there because I never want to be comfortable at the position I'm in. I always want to continue to elevate myself. Yeah.
And I have to admit, in the Black comics community, the Haitian delegation is very strong. I almost had to keep you guys separate. I had to interview you guys separately. Too much energy at one time.
Yeah.
What's that? How is that? That camaraderie or that community? How is that supported you in your endeavor now? It's like, what has that been like?
I'll tell you this, the Haitian community does not really support comics or art. They believe in you being a doctor, this and that. I had much more support from outside of my community but I just met a few Haitians that's in Haiti that's actually doing comics, and it was like very remarkable. I'm like, wow, there's actually other people. Even though I wasn't born in Haiti, I still label myself as a Haitian because that's my culture. That's what I grew up in. This is what my parents taught me. So, but yeah, no, I don't get that much support. I get much more support from Haitian Americans because we were born here, so we already embarked in comics. Okay, even though our parents don't like it, because my mom did not want me to get into comics, but when she starts seeing the art and see what my story was going towards, she was like, okay, yeah, do your thing. So yeah.
And then I just love the fact that so many of today's most popular independent Black creators are actually Haitian, and it's like it's become a recurring theme. It's like just every time I look up, someone has a Haitian flag, on their social media. I was like, oh, this guy's Haitian too. It's really interesting. And I'm enjoying the camaraderie that I see in that.
Because back in the days, but way before, I was very young. I was told that many Haitians were embarrassed to even call themselves Haitian because they were actually being bullied. So then when this is one reason why Zopan was created, and it became very ruthless. So now, everybody's very, very open about their background. I've seen Haitian Italians. I've seen Haitian Cubans. They're very, very open about their background, and I love it. So yeah, and everybody should know that Haitians are originally from Africa because of the Atlantic slave trade. So they just got to put some respect on our names. Like the haters. That's all I got to say.
So that brings us to the story. The story of your comic book, Spirit's Destiny. What is that story about, and how does that even play into what you're trying to do as far as bring attention to your culture?
Okay, Spirit's Destiny. I'll give you guys a little insight. My dad's side of the family, like his sister, was a voodoo priest, and I've never contacted her because she had bad energy. So my dad kept us away from her. But I did try to understand more about the culture because my dad was also involved in that. So he introduced me. He gave me knowledge that voodoo can be a bad thing, but it's mostly a good thing because in Africa it was used as a medicine to heal. But when I created Spirit's Destiny, it was because based off of the Haiti earthquake, and I'm like, who were their heroes? The kids didn't have any had heroes like Dr. Voodoo, And I'm like, where's the women? Where's a female superhero? And I was thinking about that for a while. I'm like, okay, I didn't want to get into comics. The reason why I really got into comics because when I go into the comic store, my son, and he likes Batman, and I hate Batman, so I have to get it no matter what. I asked him, I'm like, where's a Haitian female superhero? Like, there's none. The comic store guy said maybe somebody should create one. I'll be interested in it because he said we have Dr. Voodoo. I said Calypso. He said Calypso's a villain, and I'm like, you're right. I didn't know what the hell I was doing. I just told a couple of my friends, and they got me with Terry Alec. Terry Alec, he does a lot of cheesecake art, but he developed my first character design, and I was pleased with it. I was very pleased with it, and I said I want to create a Haitian superhero based on my persona when I was younger. Every action comes with a consequence, so that was based on my story, and I'm like, I want to teach people a few things about my Haitian culture. And I wanted to put my grandma in there. My grandma was such a strong woman. She raised like over 20 kids. Not all of them was biologically hers, but she raised them in this small little house. And, you know, I had to put her in the story. My grandma was not into voodoo as much, but she knew knowledge of it. She was just very humble. So I'm like, I need to put my grandma in there. And I said, I want to show people my infatuation with my culture. So issue 4, they're going to be Spirit's going to be in Haiti. So I'm actually writing the outline for that. So I'm going to show people about the good and bad in Haiti, you know, in our culture.
Okay.
Yeah, that was my whole goal.
You know, it's interesting, like that your goal kind of started, you know, bringing your son to the comic book shop and trying to, you know, buy comics for him. I run into that a lot when I do events. That, you know, parents like yourself bring their kids and then they want to support Black creators, you know, and buy their books, you know, for their kids. And what I have found is that a lot of us aren't actually making books or products for younger audiences. We're mostly telling stories we're mostly telling adult stories. So how have you challenged yourself in terms of trying to, you know, create books or storylines, you know, for your son and for other young people?
Yes, my son, I actually created a character based on my son. My son is 2015. He got in an accident, and he has a traumatic brain injury, and he has motor skills issues. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to create a superhero based on him. And I've actually worked with different children with special needs. So I'm like, you know, I need to write a children's book, and it's about that time. And he told me he wanted to be a superhero. So I had got a character design of him. And the question is, I've been balling about, like, you know, what's going to be his name, how his costume's going to be. And he has dreads. So, you know, there's not a lot of characters with dreads. So, and his dreads is always styled. So I'm like, if I'm going to have him, I'm not going to have his dreads in the book one certain way. And I have him, I got a story I want to plan out, and I'm probably going to just have Greg be the editor because he's a man. So it's like, it's easier for a man to assist me when it comes to writing out a male character. And I actually made him much more powerful than Spirit, even though he has motor skill issues, but he's much more powerful because of the fact, like, you know, his mom actually trained him. But I am working on it, and actually started working on a children's book as well, based on my son. So my son is my inspiration.
No, I definitely can see that. And I can identify with what you're going through. Me and my wife, we have a daughter that has, you know, who's autistic, and she has motor skill issues, has special needs. So just the stories, and at the same time, she has this crazy sense of humor. Like the stories that could come out of her, you know, just on her own would be, you know, could sell volumes of books. So I can only imagine what that's like.
Yeah, I've worked with a lot of autistic children. I don't work with them no more. But I would be taking a certification so I can work with them, you know. But that's what I started off with. I started working with special needs children, so I know how they function. They're very bright, and I said I'm going to create my son's book. He's gonna have his own team with regular children, but also kids with special needs, because kids with special needs, I feel like they're much more powerful than the person that regular individual with no special needs, because like how you're battling something like that and you're overcoming it and you're being so awesome. So that's one of the things that I'm actually working on, because most of my special needs children that was around were mostly Black kids with autism. But those are some of the smartest kids I've been around. Smartest kids I've ever been around. So that's what I'm working on. I'm gonna, I have a lot of projects. I want to stay consistent. So I'm going to make sure I have all these artwork out to let people know what other projects I have available. So, but yeah, I've been on that, so I understand.
Where does that come from, that work ethic? Because compared to a lot of other creators, you're putting out, a lot of work in a very short period of time. How are you able to do that?
I have ADHD. My son has ADHD. I have to keep myself busy. Dude, you should see. You should ask Greg. Like, it took me a while just to write Spirit's Destiny 3, because I wanted it to be perfect, but I know perfection is not gonna be always key. We're always gonna make mistakes. But I wrote it it took me so long because I wanted it to be good, because everybody said they love Spirit's Destiny 2. I'm like, okay, Spirit's Destiny 3, that's the last arc of like what happened from 1 to 3. And I'm just gonna continue expanding it. But yeah, I like to keep myself busy. I like to be challenged. Like I just got hired to write an anti-hero comic, and I'm actually reading the Silencer books to actually help me write a assassin.
Okay. Yeah.
And then I'm trying to learn how to write villains, so I'm actually reading Deathstroke's comics. He's one of the most underrated villains. They don't know how. Yeah, he's a strategist. So it's like, okay, I want my character to be someone like that. Spirit's Destiny Dad is so much like Deathstroke, because I'm a big fan of Deathstroke. So I'm like, I gotta start reading other comics, and also read other indie comics as well to assist me. I have so much comic books here. I'm just trying to find some time to read all of them.
So like actually creating these comic books was your entry point into comics, or was there another entry point? Have you always been a fan, or how did that go?
I always been a fan. Out of all my siblings, I always been a fan. I was always the one reading. But one thing I could say about my siblings, we used to just watch Sailor Moon together. I started off writing film scripts. Like I was not even taught how to write. I was just like going on Google and stuff. So when I went to film school, I already had Spirit's Destiny 1 out. I was learning how to write film scripts, because that's really what I want. I really want to get into writing films, and then I started getting the aspect of everything. I'm like, okay, I guess comic books is a much better path, but I'm like, I want to write animated scripts, because McDuffie was a very inspiration guy. So I'm like, I want to get into that. So I actually find a woman to assist me writing a animated script for Spirit's Destiny. But I'm watching a lot of anime and a lot of animation, so to actually assist me, because DC has the best animation movies there is. So that's great motivation right there.
Okay, true. What are other titles out there that right now that are inspiring you right now?
Asanana is very awesome, because it actually opened up my mind. Let me see what else. Fourth Sector. I just got Fourth Sector. Miles Morales. I've been trying to get that book, but it's always sold out in my comic book store. I hate it. Yeah. Right now I'm very I'm invested in myself into Static. I love Vita. I love her so much. She's very inspirational, especially for the LGBT community. So I'm basically very open to reading anything just to inspire me. So that's pretty much it, because I want to be able to write every single genre. I even except cheesecake. I'm not really into that, because I could write that in a novel, be like Zane and write a novel and stuff. But I want to be able to write every single genre, because at least it'll tell me that, okay, there's no limitations for me. Superhero comics is easy, but I put in sci-fi and all of that. But at least I learned how to write noir, but I just don't want no limitations.
Okay. And I like that you actually, even though superhero comics is actually the typical comic book format right now, what's so popular is horror. So it's actually interesting that you present like you jumped into the superhero storyline compared to a lot of your contemporaries right now that are doing a lot of horror and
yeah, the zombies and all that. I just finished writing a 12-pager zombie horror.
Mhm.
It was very difficult for me. He assisted me, so yeah, I got into that. Like, I'm not, I like horror, but you can implement all of that in one genre. Like a comic book does not only have to have one specific genre. You can just mesh all that up, but it's all about good storytelling. That's how I see it.
And someone asked where they can find the current issues of Spirit's Destiny. You can find it at peepgamecomics.com. Actually,
yeah, Peep Game Comics. You can have it. I know Peep Game Comics gonna start selling some hardcovers. I just had a Kickstarter, so I really can't give it to him now. So
right.
let me finish. Once the books are done, it's going to be available. I'm gonna talk to him about that. That's gonna be another website, and also I'm gonna have a website as well.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah, so there's that. And I also have another book. I have a lot of titles I'm working on. I have another book I'm planning to drop on May 18th. That's Haitian Flag Day, called Makanda. I don't know if you guys know about Makanda.
No, we don't.
Makanda was a voodoo sorcerer. So during the time when we slavery in Haiti, he taught the Haitians how to poison their masters. So he helped them kill over hundreds of masters. And when they found out he was the one that was teaching them, they cut one of his hands off. And then he went back doing the same thing, teaching them saying they're friend to kill off the masters, and they burned him alive. So he's a very prominent person in the Haitian community. There's a big backstory about him. So I created him as a superhero in the Spirit's Destiny universe. So that's the first male character I got in my universe. So yeah, I had to write it with a guy.
Right.
He's Haitian, so he's from Haiti. So he really assisted me, and Greg is also editing that. So
okay, it's like I was saying, how you're a rookie. Haven't been in it very long, but at the same time, you've already seen a lot. You've already, I know for a fact you've gone through, trial by fire through this thing. What would you advise, other indie creators coming into this and, creating comic books, and women specifically? What advice would you give them?
The first advice: do not sign with no indie publisher. Do it on your own. You're gonna have to go through the trials and tribulations and trial and errors, because signing with a publisher, you could do the same thing that they're doing. Okay. The second thing I would advise: do not get in your feelings when it comes to criticism. Some people are not gonna like your story, and some people are going to like your work. As a Black woman, it is hard, because you're going to embark with some people that's going to bully you. I'm going through bullying right now, and I don't even care. Like, I hope they're watching this as well. They're going to, call. There's some people in the industry that's not. They don't want people of color, women of color, Black women in the industry. They feel like we're not needed to make the industry any better. Who can write about a Black woman better than yourself? There's people that's going to critique you. They're going to bully you a lot. I've been bullied. I've been called all type of names. I've been shamed online. And there's one thing about you: you do not let them show that you're weak. I would never show myself weak. Continue writing. Get the best editors. Do not let. I have people actually, taking money from me, and they're not. I've lost a lot of money. Don't let people play you. I have no issues if you guys contact me. I have plenty of people that contact me, and I may take a while because I'm dealing with my son, or my mind's somewhere else, but I will always respond, because there's a new Haitian creator coming out. I have like several other creators I have assisted, but it's very hard as a woman in this industry. Very, very hard. But just don't let this industry eat you up. Imani, you see, he reached out to me, and I was just a rookie, and he gave me the opportunity. And people actually said, "Oh, when's your next book coming out?" Like, he gave me the opportunity. Nobody, he reached out to me. Yeah. And he gave me that platform. So I have so much respect for him.
I appreciate that.
No problem.
No, it's like that's a whole part of this is like, you know, recognizing talent and knowing where, you know, looking ahead and knowing where things are moving. You know what I'm saying? It's like knowing that, you know, you can see, you know, trying to see a few steps ahead and knowing how this thing is moving, how this thing is developing, and trying to get in early. It's like a speculative environment. You want to be in on the ground floor on a lot of this stuff. So, and I've noticed that, like, people who have typically, if they leave Peep Game Comics, they're on the verge of something big. So, like, whenever someone says I can no longer sell on Peep Game Comics, the next step is they'll sign with a publisher. It's like a movie deal or something. It's always something big. So I'm always happy that I can be on the ground floor of this for a lot of creators.
We appreciate you. We appreciate you.
And then also, it just so happens, Elena D, she was saying, I'm Trinidadian American woman, and I'm all about representing the islands. This topic is so relevant in our history. I'll check Peep Game Comics. Thank you.
You're welcome. And you can also hit me up anytime on my Instagram or in my Facebook, Spirits Destiny Universe. That's another way you can contact me. Don't go on my regular Facebook because I be reckless on there.
That's the thing is, well, I think, oddly enough, I think some of that helps sell comics, right? It's sort of like people know that you're a real person behind this thing. It's not just, you're not a machine, right? It's
exactly like when I was signed to somebody, they wanted me to speak about comics all day. I'm like, that is so boring. I'm like, that's comics is not all about. Yes, I'm a writer. And then people was inboxing like, Dorphise, what happened to your funny post? I'm like, yo, I gotta, you know, I'm listening to what someone's telling me. And I'm like, no, this is not me. I'm just gonna be myself. You are like, you guys can do that. You know, the interaction I get from people, you know, it is quite different. You know, my Kickstarter told me that people like my personality. There's some people that don't like me and that is still supporting me. So it's like, okay, you supporting my content, and I'm all for it. I care less if you don't like me, but if you respect my content, I'm good. There's people I don't even associate with and I don't like, and I support their content. That's a big difference. I could separate my feelings with that person, but when it comes to their work, I'm going to support that because I already know it's good stuff.
Yeah. And that's one of the things, knowing the little bit I know about your experience, it was like I was starting to see how this Black comic book community, there's definitely some pockets of darkness and light, and it's like there's some horror stories out there. You hate to see it. You hate to see it, but at the same time, I was encouraged by the fact that not only did you come back, you came back with a vengeance, man. You came back, you know, that Larry Stroman cover, that was no small thing. Like, how did that come about? I've been waiting to hear about that story.
I'm going to tell you about this story. Let me tell you, Larry was in the hospital. He got out the hospital. He reached out to me because I've been asking. You know how hard it is to get to Larry's story? So they said, Dorphise, I know you're older son. I said, yo, you actually, I said, I know you just came out the hospital, you know, take good time. He said, no, I've been owed you a long time ago. I've been doing all these commissions. I told him what I wanted. 2 days later, he was done.
Wow.
He said, this is what you wanted? I said, Larry, I get paid Friday. He said, yeah, I know you good. Just send it to me when you can.
Man.
And I said, can we do it? I said, can we work again? He said, yeah, just let me know. That man, yeah, he said, and he gave me a big advice. He said, do not limit yourself. Do not limit yourself. And that's one thing. You got to listen to the man that made $1 million. One of the first creators that made $1 million in comics. You gotta pay attention. Yeah. And he does not hold back. This is one thing everybody like about Larry. He does not hold back what he say. He will call you out and he don't care. He does not care about the repercussions. Yeah. And he told me straight up, he said, you got to be yourself. So I'm going to take the advice from him no matter what, you know. And people call me out when they say I'm wrong doing this and that, but they said, at least you stand your ground. Now, if I'm wrong, I will say I'm wrong. Right. But yeah, Larry was that was amazing. And then when I got him, I said I need a colorist. A couple of colors hit me up. I got the Jackson Godwin from Nigeria. Gave me that chance. I'm like, yo, he did it within 2 days as well. And he's right now coloring the rest of the comic. So, you know, I want to work with different artists for each book. I don't want to work with the same artist because, you know, everybody give different energy. So
Speak on that. Tell me about your creative team, like some of the other people that you're working with. You talked about Greg a lot.
Yeah, I love Greg. Me and Greg are like twins. You see what we talking about?
Okay, I'm gonna hit him up on this too when I talk to him. Yeah.
Yeah. When I needed to create an editor, I wanted a Haitian editor. So I got Greg. One thing about Greg, he said he made sure my dialogue, that was one of my flaws, is not cliche. And he called me out on it. He was on top of me. And Greg is a very busy guy. He was on top of me when it came to writing. And then when he finally said, "Oh, you're good," I was like, "Oh my gosh," I pleased him. And then the other day he made me smile so hard because it was 40 creators in the Black is Noir. I don't know if you heard about that book. So yes. So he hit me up, he said, "Your story is my favorite one." And I've implemented Haitian, my Haitian culture, and he like, "Your story is the best." I'm like, "You're lying." Mind you, I'm with heavy hitters, okay? David Walker, all these other heavy hitters. And for him to say that, I was like, wow. Because I'm the rookie, and at the end, Brandon Easton, and I'm the rookie in that in that story. And I got the opportunity. I was so amazed, and they want me to come back to it. So I'm like, okay, cool. Matteo, Maya introduced me to him, and also Newton. And I liked his work. And he's worked with Robert Jeffrey and a lot of the creators. I'm like, let me get him. He's from Italy. I mean, I don't discriminate. I don't care. As long as you can produce my art, I'm cool with that. So I got him, and I kept Jackson because Jackson did a good job in the cover, and he really wanted to work on my comic book. I'm like, okay. I said, knock it out, sir. And then Francisco, he been wanting to work with me for so long. I said, Francisco, okay, you can letter Spirit's Destiny, and he's been lettering all this time. He's actually re-lettering Spirit's Destiny too, because I actually has it translated in Creole the correct way, because my Creole is horrible. So I'm gonna send that to you. And I did work with Nia Kaler. I did work with another Haitian letterer, so I'm going to send that to you as well. So I'm working with like a lot of people, and right now I have a couple of Haitians in Haiti. They want to work on my Makandal comic book. So right now I'm just like, just dipping and dabbing in different creators. Wow. And I was waiting on you to do something for me, but you're so busy because you're a celebrity out here.
Me? Oh yeah, you. Oh, the cartoon chibi. Yes. Oh yeah, yes, for sure. Sir. No, I got you.
Yeah, I need one of my son. But yeah,
that would be awesome. No, yeah, okay. Definitely. Cool. We got some. You got some fans in here. You got Stephen Harris.
Yes, I love Stephen Harris. Another busy one. I want to work with him too, but he's so busy. Yeah,
I'm loving the fact that we've been doing this for about 8 years or so, and it seems like all the indie creators were sort of isolated. Everybody was doing their own little thing, but as time has gone on, there's been a lot of collaboration, and some of this community is starting to coalesce more. So it's like the fact that Greg is your editor, but he's also collaborating with artists like George Gant, doing kid stuff. And I was talking to Keith yesterday, how he's been collaborating with some folks. I'm loving the energy of, we're coming together. You had that horrible experience, but the fact that the community actually rallied around you and helped you to, keep going.
Yeah, they were in my inbox when I was going through my little, thing. Yeah. Because I don't like to bring them up because they don't exist in my world. But they was in my inbox like, you need to keep going. You gonna let them shut you down? Like, they were really, really on my case, and I respect them about that, especially when I was going back and forth with people. So, that's what, pumped me up. So I just ignored the negativity because I know how petty I am. I will see you in person. So I will embarrass you in person. That's how I do it. I'm not keeping no track records on social media. I will embarrass you in person. That's it. That's what I am. And that's what I do with the Kickstarter. I had somebody making videos trying to destroy my Kickstarter. I tried to discredit it. My Kickstarter success really shut them down. So I was happy with that.
Wow, I didn't even notice that. Oh, but and Stephen said, girl, we can make that happen. It's all about scheduling. So
okay, we're gonna make that happen.
So I love it. And I'm anxious to see Black is Noir is the New Black, because we're going to be carrying it on Peep Game. I've already ordered some copies, so I'm looking forward to actually, introducing that book for sure. What was your story in that book? What was your story about?
Basically, we wrote about like a politician that basically took away when people sell properties, like for instance, a poor neighborhood, they sell their properties to and that's basically what happened, and it's haunting him now. It's basically haunting him. So he went to a botanica. Botanica is where voodoo priests at, and they basically shed that light, and they're basically letting him know that he's the villain, not them.
Mm-hmm.
So that's exactly what happened. You're gonna like the art. The art is phenomenal.
Oh, who's the artist?
I forgot his name. I gotta go in the book. I actually forgot his name.
That's all right.
It's like 40 of us, and I was just reading it, and it's just so much. I haven't even finished reading the whole book yet, and I gotta order some books for myself. So hopefully I can get every single artist to sign it, and we go from there. Yeah. So that's one of the reasons. That's what I want to do.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things I'm probably looking forward to once we start opening back up and doing events, is being able to actually, get to see people in person, get some stuff signed. I have a copy of Black Comics by John Jennings, that book, with all the creators in it. And I always love taking it around and having people sign their page and stuff like that. So I definitely want to be able to get out there and do that again.
Yeah, we all waiting for. I did a con in January. It was very small, but it was cool. I sold a lot of books. But everybody's really trying to. We all want to get back into it, because the last biggest con I was in, it was me, Greg, and Jeeba. We did C2E2. We all sold out. They were buying our books like candy, and it was crazy. Hopefully, they can give us the opportunity again. I did the table with them too, and I told them that next time we do, we got to buy another table, so we all could all be together and call it a day. So, I love big cons, small cons. It really don't matter. I'm interacting with people. Greg, he's annoying. Like, the man wouldn't even let me have a break. I'm like, dude. I'm like we've been at it for the last couple of days. He said, no, you got to sell. So he was taking breaks. I would sell his books. He would sell my books. It was amazing.
No, I love it. I love it, because see, that's basically going to be the thing that keeps this thing moving forward. How else have you, navigated this whole pandemic, as far as your son and actually, but at the same time, actually putting out work? How have you been able to keep that all together?
My son, he's a virtual student. I made him virtual because I don't want him getting sick. And I'm actually a world history teacher. So to make things, people just been contacting me, like, to be honest with you. Like, and when they contact me, I always get so surprised. I'm like, me out of all other people? Like, you guys can be hiring other people that's in a much more higher level, but they're like, no, we like the way you work. So I've been getting jobs, and I've been shocked, because like, when I get into a creative mode, I'm a whole different person. So like, I think Nia Kayla is the most anti-hero I got. And so when I got that Victoria Black position, I was like, okay. But people have been contacting me all the time. Like, sometimes I even put myself out there. I'm like, okay, you want a writer, this and that, because sometimes I do get bored of writing one little thing, and I want to write something else, and they motivate me to get me back on there. So I'm trying to keep myself busy as much as possible. Like, I was supposed to finish writing something this weekend, but I've been so exhausted. So exhausted. My son been driving me crazy. So right now he keep bothering me that we always go on dates on the weekends. So right now he don't even know where he want to go. So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. You know how kids are.
Yeah, I know exactly how it is. It's interesting. Like, you say you're a whole nother person when you write. Like, describe that other person? Or I gotta get to know both of them. So
yeah,
difference. What's Dorphise the mom, or Dorphise the writer, what's
Dorphise, the regular Dorphise is the goofy person, the petty individual. But when it comes to writing, I'm a whole different. I'm focused. I'm in a creative one. I'm like, okay, I start thinking like that character, like Spirit's Destiny. It's like the animated version of myself when I was a teenager, but in a different with abnormal abilities. So, and she's challenging herself. She's learning about herself because as teenagers they learn about themselves. Especially, I'm around teenagers all day, so I pick on the way they think, and it actually helps me motivate me to write. Like I give them an assignment, they're still bothering me, so I soak in their energy all the time. And so I'm writing a character, I soak in their personality and I put it into the character to make it much more authentic. And these kids, they read comics. They always bothering me. They found me on Twitter. I have to block some of them. I'm like, no, they found my book on Amazon. One kid told me, why is your book $900 on Amazon? I'm like, $900? He said, yeah. I'm like, so I need to contact Amazon. But like they research us so much. Like back in the days, we had no access of calling our teachers. Now they can call us anytime. Yeah. Like one just texted me because I promised them one thing: don't ever promise these kids food. One text and say, "Miss, what happened to my McDonald's?" I'm like, "Oh my gosh, I totally forgot." I said, "Well, I want McDonald's." They know my number.
Wow.
Yeah. So there's that.
You know, it's interesting. Because I was asking some of the other creators, like, you know, people ask about, you know, getting into creative rut, and I tell young people that I'm a graphic designer by trade, and I was telling them as far as when you get yourself in, because I work on deadlines all the time, that actual pressure and also being accountable to other people, that actual pressure is actually what keeps me moving forward. So if I get into a rut, I know that pressure is actually what gets me out of that. Do you find that to be the same with you? Because you actually, you're teaching, at the time writing. Is it that the pressure of, you know, just parenting and all this other kind of stuff?
It's a lot of pressure, especially when I was working on Black is Noir. He had a deadline for everything. So the plot, deadline, the outline, deadline. So he had a deadline for everything. So when deadline came, he calls you. He did not care where you at, where is it. So it was very enlightening. So I'm like, okay, I need to start putting myself like that. So I started putting myself on a timer. I put 1 hour of writing, and then I put 1 hour of studying, and then the next hour I do the same thing, because that's the only way it's going to push me and keep me consistent. So, and then once I've done like 2-3 hours of doing that, I put myself have to relax, because you got to relax your mind. And then I just start doing the same thing over the next day. Yeah, you got to really discipline yourself. I had to learn how to discipline myself. Like when I first started writing, I didn't write no outlines. I just wrote the story. But now that I've disciplined myself, I've actually learned how to write outlines before writing the story, because I might change my mind, you know, while I'm writing the story, just, you know, freestyling. That's how I started off at first. So now that I learned how to outline, I have been in a much more structured or creative structural level.
It's interesting that it sort of reminds me of how when we're in school, we will always ask, they'll say, well, how's this going to help me in real life? And it's like you just sort of blow it off like nobody cares about, you know, this is useless. But then you're in a creative environment. Now you're trying to, you know, get these, you know, stories out and write under pressure. It's like, man, I wish there was a format that I could use. Oh, outlines, the thing that they taught us in high school. You know.
Yes. It just brought it back. I'm like, okay, now I see why they made us do the Venn diagram. Yeah. So I'm like, okay, outlines are very important for everything, like even for a film script. So I'm like, okay, I learned my lesson. So I tried to do the shortcut, but it didn't work out.
It's like, and that's the thing. I think people assume that creativity is a natural thing that it just pops in your head and you just put it on the page, as opposed to, no, you have all these tools that you use to actually pull the story together. That you're actually doing research. You're actually studying dialogue. You're actually revising that dialogue. You're planning these characters out. You're designing these characters. So it's not just about, you know, you're not just, you know, sitting in front of a, you know, typewriter like Kermit the Frog and just flailing away. Yeah.
Exactly. I'm even getting to the point where I'm gonna pay a writer to write something for me, like Robert Jeffrey. He's very great in sci-fi. So I have a human. This story is just to build awareness on human trafficking, especially around the Caribbean and small countries. There's a lot of human trafficking around that area. Especially Haiti was number 2 in 2012. So I'm like, okay. And I want to write it, but I want someone to start it off. And I hit him up, and he already told me his price. I'm like, okay, sure, I'm gonna pay you that, and keep it moving, because I really wanted this story. This story been sitting for so long, and then I have a Muslim story. I'm not Muslim, so I didn't want to disrespect the community. So what I did, I got with a Muslim, and me and him discussed what I want in the story, because I respect the culture, and she's a Black Muslim, and we developed something so good, and that's going to get into writing. Yeah. So, when it comes to other people's cultures, I'd rather work with the people that's part of it. Like the woman that just commented, if I want to work on a Trinidadian character, I'm going to find somebody in that culture to assist me in writing, because I respect cultures too much. I even have a Hawaiian superhero, and I have a Native American. So I'm going to contact those people to assist me, because of the fact we have to learn how to respect each other's culture. Because I seen a guy, he came out with a African character. He called him the character Ebola. And I looked at him like, bro, are you serious? Yeah. He took it down. Like, are you serious? I'm like, you don't do that. And you see all the Nigerians coming, they're like, are you freak? They started cursing him out. I don't know what kind of language they were saying. They were just typing away. I'm like, I said, you might take that down.
Wow.
So, yeah. People got to stop Googling. Google only just tells you simple facts that they learn. But when you learn from the people, yeah. Like for issue 4 for Spirit's Destiny, I'm like, I want to speak about Papa Doc. I went straight to the elders. They told me about their time, where they went through, where they had to witness assassination and all of that. He was one of the ruthless, the worst leaders Haiti ever had. He was a dictator. So that's what I want. I want to get authentic information so we can educate other people that has no information on that.
No, I'm anxious to see what you did in Nora's The New Black, and just in your new books, because just through the collaborations alone, I'm getting excited, because I know that you are actually working with a lot of talented folks. So this is going to be interesting. For sure.
Nora's New Black, I work with a rookie writer. That was his first book. That's his first 6-pager that's any comic related published. So he's excited. And I told him, like, you got to keep going. And he's going, and I'm going to collaborate with him. And I'm collaborating with a lot of people, that need information. I give them artists, I get feedback. I give them feedback, and they give me feedback. So we all got to be able to criticize each other, even where have any type of flaws. That's how I see it.
So we're almost out of time here. How can of course they can find your books peepgamecomics.com. I'm gonna start someone on here said like your number 1 for Spirit's Destiny is $908 apparently on Amazon. I'm not sure what that's about.
That's what I'm trying to find out too. I'm gonna say like that's so crazy. The kid found it. He screenshot. He said, "Why is it 900?" I'm like, I don't know. So I'm gonna contact Amazon. Y'all not gonna be trying to pimp people out here. Like,
yeah. Or at the very least, I could start selling it for $908.
Exactly. I'm not gonna deal with Walker, no branding. He's just selling that.
No, but that's something I really want to look into, as far as a lot of indie creators, like the work that they're making, especially those Kickstarter, that first printing of Kickstarter titles. I think they hold a lot of value when we start thinking about this moment. Like, I think this moment, when we look back 10, 20 years from now, the creators that come out of this moment are going to be on the forefront of something huge. And so I think these issues, these initial Kickstarter issues, are going to be very valuable, or at least we should be trying to make sure that they hold value, going into the future.
Yep, because Boom Studios, look at that, they're using Kickstarter. I'm like, come on now. But You guys can reach me on Spirit's Destiny Universe on Instagram and Facebook. And on Twitter is Spirit's Destiny U. And Facebook, I have 3 Facebook pages because they keep throwing me in Facebook jail, but you guys are going to see me.
That's what we love it, right? That's what we like.
Yeah. You guys are going to see me, but the original one is the one with the little video. I'm wearing a dress. That's the one that you guys can reach me under. But I respond to everybody, no matter what. You know, if I may take a while, but I'm going to respond to you. I'm not a very shy person. I'm very friendly. That's pretty much it. I really appreciate this opportunity, Imani.
Oh, anytime. You're no longer a rookie now.
Yeah, they keep telling me that.
Maybe now we can stop. We can stop with all that. You definitely have arrived for sure.
Yes. You sound like Tyler. Tyler be to me like, you're not no rookie.
Right.
And me and Tyler started at the same time. Now look where we're at now. Like,
that's what I'm saying.
His confidence in a different level. Like, you guys can't tell him nothing.
No. He was like, that's a perfect man. That's why I love your story, because you came out of that whole situation actually a whole much better for it. You know, the community rallied around you, and it's just an example of how it's an example of the Black comics community at its best. You know,
yes.
Your story is about how, you know, when people talk about Black people coming together, we need to stick together and support each other. Your story is an example of that. It's like every creator, every creator out there is supporting you. You know, they got your back. You know, nobody's gonna be stepping into the Dorphise anytime soon without the whole Haitian community, let alone the whole Black, you know, the whole Black comics community coming at you for sure. They got your back.
Yeah, I'm telling you, like, somebody says something about me, is in my inbox. I'm like, I'm not even checking with this person they talking about me. But people are very, in our Black community, we're very overprotective of each other. I've noticed it. Somebody could say something to me, they're gonna jump in the comments and be like, Dorphise, stand back. So I really appreciate all the men and all the women that have been defending us, because like we can't even have a voice, especially in these blur groups. The men always attack the women. I'm like, the other guys have the same opinion like us. Like, what you coming at me for? Like, now I gotta attack your disconnected beard and then whatnot and be petty. Like, come on now.
Dorphise got jokes. I see. All right, yeah. It's like you got your disconnected beard, right? All right. I appreciate your time, and hug all the babies for me, and we're gonna be talking soon, I'm sure.
Okay, appreciate it. Thank you.
Anytime. And we'll be back.